Life Story of Chandrashekhar Azad, The Fire That Never Died. Chapter 1, The Boy Who Wouldn't Bow. Chandrashekhar Azad was born in 1906 in the small village of Bravery in central India. His childhood was simple and full of small adventures. He ran along dusty paths and climbed mango trees. He listened to songs about old heroes and watched travelers who spoke of far places. When news came of a cruel event in a distant city, his heart changed. He could not accept that people were treated like they had no voice. As a young boy, he joined a large movement where people asked for better rights. He shouted with others in the crowd and was taken to court. The judge asked his name. He said only one word, Azad, which means free. He accepted his punishment and left with a quiet promise: he would not bow to unfair rules. He met other young people who also thought of change. They taught him to move carefully, to hide when needed, and to speak softly so the truth could spread. Small events shaped him: crossing rivers at night to meet friends, helping a neighbor fix a wheel, carrying messages across fields, and reading books by oil lamp. He learned to keep a steady face when danger came and to help a friend without a question. He watched villagers who gave shelter and those who quietly refused to help. These small acts built a steady heart. He learned that courage is often made of many small steps, and that a simple promise can lead a life to a far place. Chapter 2, The Making of a Revolutionary. As Azad grew, he moved from village life into secret meetings in towns and cities. He learned to wear many faces. Some days he dressed like a student, some days like a worker, and some nights like a quiet traveler. He practiced travel at night and resting in hidden rooms by day. He learned to listen to small sounds, to read a face quickly, and to trust only a few friends. In a small meeting, he met brave men who planned to stand up to unjust rulers. They trained to move quickly, to carry messages safely, and to hide important papers. Azad learned to keep silence as his shield. He also learned to help people in small ways, to return a lost goat to a farmer, to fix a cart wheel, to bring medicines to an old woman. These tiny acts won trust and gave him a way to move without being seen. He practiced keeping a small light in a hidden room and reading maps. Once he crossed a wide river in the dark, cloaked and steady, with only the sound of the water and his heart. He hid under a thatched roof while soldiers passed. In another town, he quietly fixed a poor child's torn shoe and left without telling anyone. Such small events made him strong and taught him that steady care helps more than loud words. He kept a list of safe houses and quiet roads, and little by little he built a network of friends who would follow him when the moment came. Chapter 3, Dreams and Shadows. A bold plan was made to stop the flow of government money that the rulers used to keep power. Men moved softly in the night and worked with careful speed. Azad stood near tracks and watched the lamps and the slow steps of men on the platform. When the train slowed, the team moved with quiet hands and took only the government boxes they had marked. No passenger was harmed. The only surprise was the loud news the next day. The rulers wrote angry papers, but in small homes people whispered that the money would help many families and workers. Police caught many men, but Azad had learned to vanish like a shadow. He walked through sugarcane, hid in stables, and rested in the quiet of temple courtyards. Once he stayed 3 nights inside a field, surviving on little sugar and listening to the soft wind. He passed through towns dressed as a seller, a scholar, a visitor. Villagers left food hidden under stones for him. He did not take treasure for himself. He moved what was needed to help others who had no voice. These acts filled his nights with fear and his days with small kindness. He could not sleep long, but he kept a steady path. People began to tell tales of a quiet man who could not be stopped, and his name moved from village to village in whispers, as if it were a light in dark places. Chapter 4: The Bond with Bhagat Singh. Azad met Bhagat Singh in a tiny room lit by a single lamp. Papers and maps lay on a rough table. They spoke of their dream, a country where people could speak freely and children could go to clean schools. Bhagat read books and spoke of new ideas. Azad listened and then said, in his soft voice, that courage needed careful hands. They drew small maps, wrote short leaflets to wake towns, and planned how to speak simply to workers and students. They chose words that could move a calm man to think, and they learned how to pass those words quietly from one hand to another. They trained young people to act with care, to protect the weak, and to avoid harm to innocent people. On long walks at night they spoke of promises, of the cost of action, and of the need to be fair with each other in the group. They argued about plans and laughed when food was small and tea was hot. In one market, they dropped leaflets into the hands of waiting boys and watched them read and go home thinking differently. Azad taught that discipline meant keeping a secret and helping a friend, not bravado. Together, they made plans that were small, careful, and full of purpose. Chapter 5: The Final Encounter. On a calm morning, Azad walked into a park to meet a friend. He did not expect to find the place full of men in uniforms. The birds went quiet and the footpaths filled with careful steps. Azad saw the circle of men and moved at once, not in panic but in steady action. He gave a quick sign so his friend could walk a small path and leave the park. He moved from tree to tree, calling softly to others, pointing to safe ways out. His aim was to protect people and to make sure no innocent person was trapped. He worked while the noise grew, and he covered the escape of several friends by making a small stand that kept the way open. He did not shout, nor did he ask for praise. He simply moved to hold space until the last person could pass through a hidden way. When the crowd was free, he kept one place open longer, and then he faced the net of men closing in. In that final act, he kept his promise to himself that he would not be taken to live under hands he did not trust. When the park quieted again, people gathered to find him resting under the trees. He had chosen his own path in a moment that was both sad and clear. Chapter 6: After the Smoke Cleared. When word spread, small groups gathered near lamps to talk in low voices. An old man walked to the park and looked at the place under the tree. He touched the ground and spoke of a boy who had run on dusty paths and later moved like a shadow for his country. Children made small games to hide messages in books, copying the ways of secret couriers. Women told tales of how he once dressed as a seller to pass by men who watched roads, and how he left a few coins with a widow without saying his name. In one house, a young man wrote a short poem about the night he watched a lone figure cross a river. People lit a small lamp every year on the same day and left a flower near the tree as a sign that they would not forget small acts of courage. In villages far away, mothers told children to move quietly before dawn, like the man who learned to walk in the night. These tiny stories kept his name alive in the mouths of simple people. They were not loud speeches, but living steps, a repaired wheel, a quiet gift of food, a no pass to a neighbor. In that way, the memory continued to grow as a soft, steady light in many small homes, guiding those who chose to act with care.